So this is Dr. Kavita Singh, Associate Professor in Department of Civil Engineering in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today our topic will be for discussion will be image interpretation. So in the previous lecture we have just discussed about different types of sensors. What are the sensors? What are the resolutions which a satellite will be having? So based on the satellites or sensors, the data which we receive, so the data how to interpret it, how to interpret the data, how to read the data, how to get the information out of that. That we'll be learning today in this topic, that is called as image interpretation. So image interpretation, first of all, let us go through the contents. What are the contents which we are going to discuss today? So we are having the contents: image interpretation, types of image interpretation, methods of image interpretation, factors governing interpretability, and techniques of visual image interpretation, activities of image interpretation, image characteristics. So there are various contents which we are going to study today, and let us discuss about the topics. So first of all, we should understand what is image interpretation. So the term interpretation means what? How do we understand the term interpretation? Interpretation means studying or identifying the object or reading the image with the help of map language. Okay, because our image will be having just a features on that. So we'll be having different kinds of features, like we have a road here, we have a railway track here, right? We have a railway track, we have a water body here, and there is a tree or there is a house. There are many things will be there in the image. So how we are able to read that image, that is called as interpretation. Reading of the image is called as interpretation. So for interpreting an image, a person should be skilled or they should know about the type of the features in the image. So how do they identify the features? How do they understand the features? If they understand the features, they are able to read the image. It's called as interpretation. So what is image interpretation? Act of examining images to identify objects and judge their significance. So it's like examining the images, identify the objects and judge their significance. How do we judge their significance is called as interpretation. So information extraction process from the images. So how do we how do we extract the information from the images is called as image interpretation. So an interpreter is a specialist trained in the study of photography or imagery. So he's a specialist. Specialist should know, and they should be trained in reading the photography or the imagery to interpret the imagery in addition to his own discipline. So aerial photographs and remote sensing images employ electromagnetic energy as the mean of detecting and measuring target characteristics. So involves a considerable amount of subjective judgment and highly dependent on the capability of the mind and to generalize. So takes place at different levels of complexity. Now image interpretation, how do we do? So image is a pictorial representation of an object or a scene. So it's like a representation of the picture. So when you click a picture, when you click an image, when you have an image through the sensors from the satellite, so that satellites and sensors will be having a representation from their pictorial representation of an object or a scene. An image can be analog and digital. There are two types of image. One is analog, one is digital. So what do you mean by analog? So analog image is an image which is in the form of picture. It's not like in the form of point, in the form of line, in the form of polygon. So all the images will be in the form of a picture. It can be shown in the form of just a picture. Now digital means the data which is having a digital data, like will be having the pixels. So all the data which having the pixels is called as digital data. So this digital data, this digital image can be identified, and the visual analog image also can be identified. So aerial photographs are generally analog, while satellite data is a is in the digital form. Aerial photographs are generally analog photos, and the satellite data is in the digital form. So a digital image is made up of square or rectangular or areas called as pixels. So digital image always will be having a pixel image, whereas the analog image will be having just in the form of the pictures. So each pixel has an associated pixel value which depends on the amount of reflected energy from the ground. So suppose here we have a figure here which is having aerial image of South Mumbai city. South Mumbai city. This is the South Mumbai city. So this is the image of uh, Mumbai city. So it's a satellite image. It's a satellite image. So in the satellite image we can see the beach of this area. We have this beach here, right? And we have a sea here, and we can see the populated area over here. So first of all, we should know how a water body looks like, how a beach looks like, how the residential areas looks like. So if you know with the help of the color, with the help of the shape, and with the help of the feature object, how does it appear? So based on that, when we try to identify the feature, then it is called as image interpretation. This means there is nothing written in this image, but still we are able to identify based on the color, and based on the type of the object, like how the texture, how it looks like, and the type of the object, we are able to identify the object. Now when we go to this next picture, we'll see this is a more clear picture of a satellite image. So this satellite image is of South Mumbai city. South Mumbai city is like, here we can see there is a boundary beach over here. So it's like a boundary of the sea. So on the side of the sea there is a residential areas which is located on this part of the piece of the land. So based on the color we are able to say, and based on the texture we are able to say. So that's why we are able to read. We are not saying, we are just reading the image that this kind of texture and this kind of color means it's a sea water, it's a water body, and here it's a water body again. Here we have a different types of residential areas. Now types of image interpretation. So we are having types of image interpretation. We have visual image interpretation on a hard copy image or a photograph, visual image interpretation on a digital image. So visual image interpretation can be done on a hard copy image. Hard copy image means when you click a picture, when you get a satellite image and you get a printout of that, so that hard copy image also can be just visually interpreted based on the some key elements that we'll study later. What are the key elements? So based on the key elements, like how does the texture looks like, how does the color looks like, how does the shape looks like, based on that all we are able to identify the objects of the visual interpretation of a hard copy of an image. Now visual image interpretation on the digital image. So visual image interpretation on the digital images, how do we identify the digital objects on the image? Like what are the features present on the image we are able to identify. And next we have types of interpretation. Types of interpretation, we have qualitative, we have quantitative. So we have qualitative and quantitative. So here if we see it is in increasing complexity, and here we see the resolution part. Now if we see how does it increase in this way. So first of all, when you want to interpret an image, we are going to interpret it with the help of the tone or color. So tone means color. Tone means color. Okay. So color of the object and tone of the object will itself say is which type of object it is. But before interpretation, we should be able to know, we should be able to understand which type of feature means what. So we have shape, size, texture, and pattern, height, shadow. Based on these all elements, we are able to identify the objects on the image. So either it is a visual image, either it is a digital image. If it is a visual image, if it is a hard copy of the image, we can just take a printout of that, we can just find out the objects on that. And if it is a digital image, we can just take out we can just find out the features on the digital image based on the digital pixels, right? Now when you talk about methods of image interpretation, So image analysis, what are the two methods we use is manual procedures we have, computer assisted procedures. So manual is like it's about the analog image, and computer assisted means it's a digital one, right? So image analysis task we have detection, identification, measurements, problem solving. Now we have manual procedures, analysis procedures we have, techniques and aids. So in the analysis procedures we have hypothesis testing, line of reasoning, converging evidence, we have a perceptual models, we have a collateral material, literature, lab measurements, interpretation key we have a field work over here, stereo viewing and searching methods. So these all comes under the manual procedures. Now when we talk about elements, these two elements are common to manual and as well as to the computer assisted procedures. So basic elements are tone, color, higher order spatial arrangements, size, shape, texture, pattern, height, shadow, sight, association. So these are the elements which are used for the interpretation process. So before we go for the interpretation, before we try to understand about the interpretation, before we are able to read the image, we should go through these key elements. Based on the key elements only, we are able to read the image. Our interpreter should know, they should have the knowledge about these all key elements, and then only they are able to go with the interpretation. Now geometric arrangement of the tone or color, spatial arrangement of tone or color, then interpretation based on lower order elements, then locational elements. Now if we talk about computer assisted procedures, so here we have techniques and aids, we are having analysis procedures. So training sites, collateral material, prior probability, mathematical models we have, statistical pattern recognition we have, syntactical pattern recognition we have, decision theoretical approach we have, and we have a symbolic reasoning. Right, so these are the process we have. Now factors governing interpretability, like training and experience we have, nature of object or phenomenon we have, quality of photographs we have, equipments and methods of interpretation key guides, manual and other aids, fair knowledge of the area. So what are the factors which govern us, which are the governing to the interpretability, right? Which will help for to interpreter to interpret the image. So the factors will be like training and experience. The interpreter should have the training and experience of reading the image, to interpret the image with the help of the elements like key elements which we have studied in the previous slide, like tone, texture, shape, size. They should know about these all kinds of things. Then only they are further able to identify the features and the nature of the object or phenomenon. So what kind of nature of object they are going to interpret, and quality of photographs, different quality of photographs should be used, equipment and methods of interpretation. So various equipments and methods of interpretation can be used. Interpretation keys, guides, manuals and other aids are used. Prior knowledge of the area should be there. So these all are helpful. Now techniques of visual image interpretation. So image interpretation comprises at least three facts. So what are the three facts we have here? The measurement of images of objects, one thing. So the measurement of images of the object means what are the different types of images present in the satellite imagery, and identification of objects image. So how do we identify the objects and which are imaged, and appropriate use of this information in the solution of the problem. So appropriate use of information in the solution, we are able to uh, uh, do it or not, and then the solution of the problem is also the three facts which our interpreter should have. Now, what are the methodology which are used in the interpretation methods? So we are having the methodology, like it depends on the kind of information to be interpreted. That means which kind of information to be taken out from the image. To be taken out from the image means which kind of information is required to read out from the image. then accuracy of the results to be obtained. So how far it is accurate, because the image will be having only the features present in that, there won't be any kind of information present over there. So we have to just see the image and we have to just try to find out the accuracy of the results to be obtained. The reference level of person executing the interpretation. So what are the reference level of person executing the interpretation? Like different levels of persons who are executing the interpretation. Kind and type of imagery or photographs available. Where are the different kinds of type of imagery or photographs are available? Means what are the types of imagery are available and photographs are available? And instruments available. What are the instruments available? Scale and other requirements of the final map. So what are the different scales and other requirements to be find out from the final map, and the external knowledge available and any other sensory surveys that have been made or will be in the near future in the same area. So these are all methodologies are used for the interpretation techniques. So before we go for the interpretation technique, first of all we should know what kind of information we are just going to take it out and how far it is accurate. And third thing, we have to see the level of the person executing the interpretation and what kind of imagery and photographs are available, what kind of instruments are available, what are the scales available, what are the external knowledge available and other sensory or will made in the near future of the in the same area. Right now we talk about the activities which are involved in this image interpretation. What are the activities it's involved with? Means what basically we do. So activities in the image interpretation we have is recognition, recognition, analysis, deduction, and classification, idealization, convergence of evidence. Okay, so detection means what are the things we are going to detect. Detect means what are the things we are going to identify from the image, because the image will be having lot of information. The image information will be in the form of roads, in the form of railways, in the form of water body, in the form of forest, in the form of vegetation, in the form of various kinds of information will be present on the imagery. So what kind of detection we are going to do, which kind of particular detection we are going to, our interpreter is going to do. Then recognition, first we have to recognize and just we have to find out which kind of imagery it is present. So finally we have to just find out the different types of features present over there. Analysis, and then later we have to do the analysis of these recognition or the detection or the identification. Then deduction means we are just going to Deduction means we are just going to remove. Suppose there is an image here. So I suppose I need to find out only the water bodies in this particular image. So there will be a lot of things here. There is a river here. There will be a road here, right? There will be a railway here. There will be a tree here, a building, so many buildings over here. So many buildings over here, it will be present like this. So what we have to see, we have to suppose if I want to identify only the water bodies. So water body means when we talk about water body consists of river, then canal, and then we have a water tank. Okay, we have a water tank. So here, if we see, so here we have river. So what we will do, we will just identify these features only and we'll remove. So this is called as deduction, that we are just deducting this rest of the features which are not required in the image. So we are just removing these features. Only what we are going to identify is water body. So there is a water tank present over here, there is a river, and if there is a canal also, that also will come under water body, and some drainage patterns will come under water body. So these are all features which are present in the image we are going to identify, and rest of the things we are going to just deduct it. We are going to remove it. Then further we are going to do the classification. Classification means just classify the features. Classification means, for example, we are going to identify the residential areas. So residential areas or all the built up we are going to identify. So suppose there are a lot of buildings over here. So if we are going to do the classification, so broadly we can say it's a built up plan. Okay, it's a built up plan. It's a built up plan. So if you want to do the classification of that built up plan, so under this built up plan, what we can do is, how we can classify is, we can just classify as area, residential area. We can find out as commercial area. Okay, residential, commercial, and we can just find out as industrial. Okay, industrial area. So these are all areas which we can just classify further. Okay, so further classification we can do with this built up plan. First broad category we have to identify, and then we have to go with the further classification. Then idealization, which kind of idea we are using for this kind of identification. Further, we have convergence of evidence. Convergence of evidence means what are the proofs of the what we have found. Suppose there is a river here, and suddenly the river is extended till here. So that means this river was flooded at the some time period. So based on this evidence, we can just find out the that this river was over flooded. So this is the evidence we can just say, and we can just get to know about the type of the feature present on that image. Okay. Next, we are talking about sensors in the photographic image interpretation. So what are the sensors which are present in the image interpretation? So sensors in the photographic image interpretation is black and white panchromatic, black and white infrared, color infrared, false color. So we have here different sensors in a photographic image interpretation. So that will be in a black and white panchromatic. Black and white panchromatic means what? I hope you remember in the previous topics when we were discussing about satellites and sensors. So satellite will be giving the information in two types of bands. Okay. So one is panchromatic. What is panchromatic? Panchromatic and multispectral. Panchromatic is multispectral. So panchromatic will be, it's a data with black and white image. Black and white image. Okay. So black and white means all the features, if it is a fields, that will be in the black and white color. So black and white will be like dark black. Then we have dark black, dark gray, dark gray. Then you have light gray. Then you have more lighter gray. Right. So like this, you'll be having all types of features in the black and white image. All will be in the black and white color with the different shades, right? Dark black to lighter shades. So black and white panchromatic, black and white infrared. So infrared is the image which is having multispectral image. So multispectral images. Infrared is a multispectral image which is having different color information, and we have a color infrared and false color. Okay. So what is false color? Color infrared is also multispectral. False color means what? If it's a satellite image is there, so this image will be having the features in this image will be in different colors. It won't be in the original color. If it is a vegetation, like if it is a crop field, if it is a forest area, if it is a cropland, and if it is a water body, so these colors will be not in the original color. Whatever water body will be black in color. Okay. Forest will be green in color. Okay. And here vegetation will be forest will be red in color. Okay, red in color, and vegetation will be red in color. Why? The reason here is the false color image, the spectral bands, I mean the vegetation or the forest, the greenery which will be reflecting more in the infrared region. So that's the reason it will be appearing red in color in the satellite images. Okay, so these are the different sensor photographic image interpretation we do. Now, if you want to interpret these two imageries, like showing black and white and color sensor image, so we have this black and white we call it as panchromatic. Okay, panchromatic. So these all features you have in the either black, either white. So now, if we know the key elements, in the key elements in sense, if we know the how to interpret it, if we know how a feature will look like in a satellite image, which color it will look like. If it is a black and white, the water body will be black in color. Black in color is like it will be having more suspended solid present in that, so it looks like black in color. So there will be no reflection, only absorption will be there. So most of the radiation will be absorbed by these type of features. So that's the reason it will show black in color. Now here there is a tower here, or a small house over here, or a building over here, which is white in color, so it looks like white. Now vegetation, you see that also it is looking the darker color, the green color, which is looking in black in color, but it is compared to this black, it is more lesser black. Okay, so black and white means how we are able to identify the features with the help of the shape. So shape you can see here, this is the shape. So it can be a water body only. Why? Because the water body will not be in a regular shape if it is a natural water body. So if it is a man-made, it can be a pond, or if it is a tank or something like a dam and all. So it will be in somewhat shape. But here, irregular feature means it's a water body, and that too it is totally dark in color. So side of the water body, we have a small white color house over here, and then we can see the road which is going along with this path. And the texture of these small things, what we can see, it's like a vegetation or trees which is grown along with the uh, road. So this is how we identify, because we know the key elements. That's why we are able to identify. We will discuss in detail in the next class about the key elements. Now, if we see here, we have one more feature here, that is color image. We call it as color, or this is the true color image. True color image means this true color image we will get from the aerial photographs, because true color means actual color, how exactly it looks like, it will appear in the image. So here we can see it's like a factory. We can see here it's a chimney kind of thing. Okay, here it's a chimney, and there is a factory kind of thing here, continuous top of the building, right? So this is a factory. You can just guess by seeing this kind of shape and the size of the object. Now here it is a road. So like that, with the key elements, if we know how does a chimney looks like, how does a building look like, how does a where features look like, how does a forest look like, or a vegetation look like, or a crop field look like. So that all if we know, we are able to identify the features present in this satellite image. Okay. Now, when you're talking about black and white photo, so black and white photo is like the upper right corner. There is a hydrofoil ship. Upper right corner. See here we have a hydrofoil ship, and the other big ship is a tanker delivering fresh water to the island. So we have ships here. So it is delivering the fresh water to the island. This is the island, right? You can see here. So this is one aerial photograph which is in black and white color and very clear picture, but all things are in black and white. So how do we identify unless until we don't know the shape? So we know the shape, we know the tone. So based on that, we are able to identify at least what kind of feature it is. Okay, even though if it is black and white. Now here we have a color and false color photography. So as I was discussing before, also false color and color. So color means this is the photo of color image, and that too we can see, I think it is most of the same part of the area. So here color image is called as multispectral. So multispectral is like this is called as true color. True color means actually how the feature looks like. So greenery, it is in green color. Here you can see greenery, totally it is in green color. Here water body, it is showing somewhat black dark color. The reason is total water is polluted water and it is having lot of suspended particles present in this. We have a road here. Okay, we have a road here and we have all buildings present over here. Same type, and this is true color. Actually, how our eyes can see, same the way the picture will appear here. So the same picture when it goes to false color. What is false color? False color means the image will not be having the same color appearance. Same color appearance means image will not be having the same color appearance means it will be having the other color. It's like we have here the field, same field here you can see it is in green color, but here it is red in color. The reason is false color. As I told you before, the vegetation will appear red in color. The reason is it will reflect in the infrared region. The highest reflection will be in the infrared region. That's the reason in image it will appear in red color, and it comes under three bands. One band, band 1, band 2 and band 3. Okay, band 3. So either red band, red, blue or green. So these three bands only we will see in the image. So this is the red band and you can see the this all the residential area, it is blue in color. So green band means somewhat greenery you can see here based on the type of the features, and the water body it will be totally appearing black in color based on the more absorbance. So the reflection is very low. There is only absorbance in this kind of water body which is having suspended particles present. Okay. Now we have part of Oman's sensor. This is IARE 1D WIFs. So the mountains and the rocky terrain of the Gulf Oman area seen through a WIF sensor. So you can see the just texture of the mountain, right? So the texture is very rough and it is somewhat looking very much elevated. So that's how we can identify it is a mountain region. Okay. Now image characteristics. The image interpretation use is made of image characteristics or interpretation elements. So image characteristics or interpretation elements. So image characteristics and interpretation elements is what are the characteristics of the image we have. So image characteristics basically it is distinguished in the spectral characteristics, spatial characteristics, stereo associated features. So majorly we can just discuss about the spectral and the spatial characteristics. So when you talk about interpretation elements means we are having the key elements which we have seen before: tone, texture, shape, size. This will be discussing in the coming lecture also. So image characteristics means spectral characteristics and spatial. So these two if we consider basically. So spectral characteristics is what spectral curve, reflectance curve we have discussed in the previous lectures also. So how a feature will reflect in which kind of region. So here when we see here we have features like coarse redworm, dry grass. So dry grass has reflection of, this is a green color. So it is not having more reflection in the IR region, it is going down. Okay, coarse redworm is like reflecting high here in the infrared region. Okay, so based on the type of the feature, the reflectance curve will be showing us the spectral characteristics. Now we have a different aspects of gray tone. So as we have discussed in black and white image, this is just a panchromatic image, a black and white image. So either the feature will be black in color, either the feature will be white in color. So how can we identify based on the shape, based on the tone? Now you can see here farm. A is the farm. So this is A, this is A. Farm, how it will look like? You have a shape like this rectangle. You have a shape like this rectangle. So this is the rectangle shape. So farm will be always in the rectangle shape or else square shape. Some places you will see square shape. Some places you will see it is in the rectangle shape. Okay. Now you see river. River will be somewhat irregular feature. So B is the river. So river is like spread from here to here, right? So this is the river boundary. So it's like a water body here, and the white color what you can see here is sand. Okay, this is sand, this is water, and this is the river part. Now see here, you see silica or sand. As I told you, either it is a silica or sand. So in between the river, if you see any white color feature, that means either it is a silica, either it is a sand. So silica or sand can be in the river. How do we identify the river? Based on the shape, we can say, right? So now we have D is the water. So this black color, all black color is a water body. So if it is a black and white image, we should know which color, how it looks like. Based on the shape, we are able to just identify the type of the feature in the image, right? Now we have one more different aspects of the gray tone. Like we have a green fresh vegetations, small plants, old plants, bushes, how it looks like. Let us see. Now here we have a green fresh vegetation. It will look totally black in color, very dark black in color. Now B, if we see, these are the B. So these are some small plants. See the texture of these and these. Though both the textures are different. Now C, we have old plants. So somewhat the color has been darkened here. And if it is small plants, the color is somewhat less dark. Now D is the bushes. So irregular kind of features. Irregular kind of features will be the bushes. So this is how we identify based on the identify is not just reading the image. We are just reading the image called as interpretation. Now here we have full color, panchromatic. Now same type of feature just we see here. This is the true color image. This is the black and white image. Okay, black and white image. So true color image is like see here green color. This is the green color. So this is somewhat fields over here. So we can say it's a field based on the shape and the color. Now this portion is some vegetation is grown over here. Here also it is grown. Here it is harvested by seeing this kind of field. Here it is in the growing stage by seeing the texture of the image or texture of the feature or shape of the feature. We can just identify the. Now spatial characteristics will be like shape, size, shadow, pattern, texture. So size and shape we see. So size is like based on the type of the object. Now shape if we see, it's a pentagon shape. So pentagon shape means it can be a sector or some kind of stadium or some kind of official office can be there. So this kind of shapes will be there. You have a road, so many roads over here, right? So based on the shape and size, then size, shape, pattern, shadow. So these are pyramids. We can see with the shape of the pyramids. Okay, shape of the pyramids and pattern. In this pattern it is located. Okay. Now association, like association is Hoover Dam. So some features we are unable to identify sometimes. So based on the association, we are able to identify. So this is a dam over here. So it's a Hoover Dam. So how it is associated with the nearby features, like we have a very much rocky areas. So rocky area which is associated with this kind of dam is called as association. Okay. Shadow. Some features if we are not able to identify how it looks like. So what we do is shadow. Shadow. If you see the shadow, it's like a tower. So there is a tower here. Okay, so it's a Washington Monument. It looks like this. Based on the tower, we are able to tell, right? Because it's a slant image, it's a oblique image. So based on the oblique image, the side view and top view is visible. But if it is a heighted object, we are not able to identify the exact feature. So based on this shadow, we are able to identify. Okay. Now shadow also you see here. The same feature is shown in the image. So these kind of shadow you can see here. This is the shadow of these. This is the actual object, actual feature, and these are the shadow of this feature. So this is how we identify the shadow. Okay. So pattern and texture also we'll see. So pattern and texture is like when you see the actual field here, it will be like this with these kind of patterns, and texture will be somewhat rough texture. So this both the fields you can see the difference. Here the texture is different, and here the texture is different, here the texture is different. So based on that also we can put it. Now Uttarakhand floods, if we see, we have two pictures here. So how far we can just differentiate, how do we know? So these are the pictures of Kedarnath temple. So here is the temple. This is pre-flood situation. This is post-flood situation. So interpretation will help us to find out the. This is the advantage of the flood situation. This is the advantage we are able to find out the pre and post information about any disaster. So this was a very calm situation. This is the river. Suddenly, when the flood has occurred, it has spread through here and here totally debris formation and the flow of mud is present over here. Okay. So these are the references which where you can just go through and just refer these links or the books for the more information, more content. So MNG Reddy Singh in GS. This is the book for the entire course. You can just refer. So you will be getting all type of topics in this book. So you can just go with the fourth edition of this book, and later you can go through this link for the further information and just find out more content about it. So that's all for today. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.